All right, so we've got quite a few really interesting articles and pieces here, all kind of circling around the same idea, this idea that with AI, all this generative AI coming out, things like ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini, it seems like educations are going through like a pretty huge rethink. Like less about, finding the right answer and more about how we ask the right questions.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, that is like the fundamental shift that's going on. And it's really all because AI can just produce answers so easily, right? I mean, for so long, education has been like, can you give the right response? Can you give the right answer? But now that AI can just do that, it's like, okay, well, what about the questions? What about the prompts? Like, how good are the questions that we're asking? And that's where the real learning is happening, right?
Yeah, they even have a name for it now. It's called the Pedagogy of Prompting or something like that. But it's basically this idea that when AI can write and do math problems and even code, like being able to ask really good questions, good prompts is like the most important skill. So like instead of what's the capital of France, it's how can I use AI to learn about European capitals? Or how can I use AI to learn about how European capitals are interconnected historically?
Right, right. Or instead of write me a summary of Romeo and Juliet, it's like, okay, what are like the emotional arcs in Romeo and Juliet and how might different AI tools interpret them differently, Like it's just this, it's subtle, but it's like a huge shift in how we learn and how we think about knowledge and stuff. Like it's almost as important as grammar or, like being able to tell if a source is legit.
Okay, so prompting, we get it. New big thing. But why? Like, why is it such a big deal now?
Well, it's because, think about it, it's like the prompts that we give AI, that determines what the AI gives back to us, right? And then that output from the AI, that's what shapes how we learn. So if our prompts are really good and thought out, then we're going to get much better results from the AI and we're going to learn better.
Right. So prompts shape outputs and outputs shape learning. So basically prompts shape learning.
Makes sense. So the articles that you sent over talked about like 4 main types of prompts that are really good for learning. And the first one was Socratic prompts. What are those?
Yeah. Socratic prompts, they're all about like reasoning and being able to back up what you're saying. So instead of just asking for the answer, it's more like, why do you think this solution is better than the other one? It's about the reasoning behind it. Just like the old, Socratic method, classic teaching method, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. And the second one was reflective prompts. Yeah. Reflective prompts, these are like, they push students to think about the AI's response, but really critically, what assumptions is the AI making? It's like an AI is making assumptions about the best way to answer a question, just like we all do, right? But like being aware of that, that's the key.
So it's like, don't just accept what the AI says.
Yeah.
Think about like, where's it coming from, and then there were these metacognitive prompts.
Right, right. Metacognitive prompts are all about the learner, like thinking about their own thought process, like in comparison to the AI. So it might be something like, how did the AI get to this answer? And does that match up with how you were thinking about it? So it's like self-awareness, right? Like comparing yourself to the AI to see, like, where are you at?
I see. So it's like making you more aware of how you understand things. And the last one, creative constraints.
Yes, creative constraints. Those are fun. It's like combining factual stuff with imagination. Like, okay, can you write a story that's set in the Renaissance, but you have to include these 3 actual scientific discoveries from that time. So it's forcing the AI to be creative, but within certain rules, which can be a really cool way to learn.
Yeah, that is cool. And it seems like with all this focus on prompts, like the teacher's role is changing too, right?
Yeah, big time. Like, teachers are becoming less about just giving information, right? And more about designing learning experiences, like curating all the information. And one of the articles even called it being an AI orchestrator. Like teachers are becoming conductors of AI.
Orchestrators.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool way to think about it. But like, what does that look like in practice?
Well, I mean, prompting becomes like a main teaching tool, right? It's not just for the students to use directly. It's like the teacher is designing prompts to guide how the student interacts with the AI. And it's also a great way to see like where a student is at, like a formative assessment, like how good are the prompts that they come up with and how do they respond to what the AI gives back. And then it's also great for differentiation, for tailoring the learning to each student.
So like every student gets a different AI experience based on their needs.
Exactly. Like let's say you're teaching about World War I, right? For a student who's just starting out, maybe the prompt is like, list 3 long-term causes of World War I. But then for a student who's more advanced, it might be, okay, use AI to find arguments from 2 different historians about the main causes of World War I and then compare and contrast them. And then for a really advanced student, it might be, all right, AI is going to give you an argument that nationalism was the most important cause of World War I. Now analyze that argument and tell me if you agree with it and why.
So it's like the same topic, but the questions are just like way different to match each student. That's really cool. And what about the students? Like they're kind of becoming prompt engineers themselves, right?
Totally, totally. Like being able to work with AI to use prompts effectively, that's going to be so important for jobs in the future. And it's, we got to start teaching that now. It's like, how do you write a good prompt? How do you know if the AI is giving you good information? And how do you change your prompts to get better results? That's like a whole new set of skills.
Yeah, and the articles mentioned some really interesting classroom activities to teach these skills. Like, what were they? Promptathons and prompt debugging and prompt journaling. What are those all about?
Yeah, so promptathons are basically like competitions, like who can write the best prompt for a specific task. And prompt debugging, that's when you take an AI response that's not good, like maybe it's confusing or just plain wrong, and you figure out how to change the prompt to make it better. So you're debugging the AI, basically. And then prompt journaling, that's just like keeping track of the prompts you use and what the AI says and thinking about how your prompts change the results so you really understand like how you're interacting with the AI.
Those are really cool ideas. Like it's not just sitting there and taking what the AI says. It's like you're actively shaping the information you get. And it's cool how this whole prompting thing actually ties in with the older teaching methods too, like Socratic dialogue, inquiry-based learning, and metacognition.
Oh, yeah, totally. And that's important. It's not like we're throwing out all the old stuff. It's more like we're taking what worked and making it even better with this new technology, right? Yeah. Like Socratic dialogue has always been about asking questions to make people think. Well, now you can do that with AI too. And inquiry-based learning, where students kind of figure things out on their own. Well, prompts are like the starting point for that. And metacognition, that's like being aware of how you think. Well, certain prompts can help with that too.
So it's not just about AI, it's about using AI to learn better, like a whole new approach to learning. And with all this talk about questions, it really makes you think about the role of teachers now,
For sure. But, the articles also brought up some things to watch out for as we go down this road, some potential problems, right?
Yeah, like the first one was prompting doesn't mean mastery.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like, why isn't getting a good answer from the AI enough?
Right, because like a student could write a really good prompt and the AI might give back something really insightful, but that doesn't mean the student actually gets it, Like they haven't really learned it until they can think about it critically, apply it to different situations, all that. So prompts need to be designed to go deeper, not just like, here's the answer. It's got to be more than that.
Yeah. It can't be like a shortcut to learning. What was the second one?
Over-reliance, yeah. Like, what if students just become too dependent on AI for all the answers? They might not develop their own thinking skills or problem solving, even just remembering basic stuff. So we got to teach them AI literacy, like how to use AI responsibly and strategically and knowing when not to use it,
Right. So it's about using AI as a tool, not a crutch. And what was the last thing to watch out for?
Well, it's just that a lot of teachers might not feel ready for all this, They might need more training to really use these prompting frameworks well in the classroom. So yeah, professional development, that's going to be key. Like workshops on designing prompts, sharing ideas with other teachers, and just having access to resources that can help them understand like the bigger picture of AI and education,
That all makes sense. Okay, so one of the articles asked this question. Are we the students now? Like with AI being so smart, are we the ones who need to learn? What do you think?
I think it's a great question, Because in a world where AI can like find any answer instantly, being able to ask the right questions, that's what really matters, right? And not just for students, for teachers too, because we're all learning how to work with this technology.
So the big takeaway is that education is becoming more and more about asking the right questions.
Mm-hmm.
And AI is making that even more important.
Exactly. And this shift, it can really change how we learn. Students can be more independent, they can learn more deeply, and they'll be ready for the future, a future where asking the right questions, well, that's going to be essential.
It really makes you think. So on that note, here's a question for everyone listening. If asking good questions is like the key to being smart in a world full of answers, what questions are you going to start asking differently? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.